Hey guys, my name is Anthony, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a last to first challenge around Paul Ricard, whilst I talk about various things to do with the real life F1 like the previous Grand Prix and what my thoughts are going into this weekend. So if you enjoy the video, make sure to smash the like button as it will help the algorithm push this video out to more people like yourselves. Let's get straight into this video. So I'm just going to be using Lewis Hamilton's car for this one. Last time out we used the Alpine modded car. This time I'm just going to use Mercedes. And we're just going to do that at France. I need to set one shot qualifying so that I can start in last place. And that's really about it. So I'll catch you guys when we're just about to start the race. Okay guys, so here we are at the start finishing line grid. We're just going to do a simple softer mediums and just try and get as far up the field as we possibly can. And a quick disclaimer for you guys, just as we go into the thoughts that I have going into this weekend. I'm going into this with only seeing FP1 and FP2, so please remember that when I actually start talking about my thoughts going into this weekend. So let's get straight into this one and see if we could do better than we did last time. So yeah, we're going to need a good start here because my starts have apparently been just terrible against the AI recently. Right, here we go. Yeah, that's not great. I don't know if maybe they've updated the AI starts. Maybe that's why. Alright, as we go down the inside of Russell here, can we get around the outside as well? No. It would be nice if I wasn't stuck here though. Okay, see if we can just navigate our way through without taking any wing damage. There we go, around the outside. Whoa, what an overtake. That was brilliant. But yeah, as we get stuck into the actual race now, let's start talking about my thoughts about the previous weekend. Well, not the previous weekend, the previous race, because I believe it was like 2 weeks ago now. So the Baku GP was insane. I did not expect it to be that insane going into the actual weekend. So I'm happy that we got an amazing race. Obviously there was a few incidences like the tires exploding, which was quite concerning, which is a very big talking point, to be fair, because obviously you guys probably saw what happened by this point. But the fact that those tires blew up both times when they were in apparently Pirelli's window, it's quite questionable, to be honest with you, and it really makes you wonder what was going through Pirelli's heads when they set the tire pressures, because I'm assuming that maybe it was something to do with the tire pressures as well, like maybe that played a hand in things happening the way they did. So I don't know, but either way, it was an incredible race. And one thing I wanted to ask you guys is, what do you guys think of Lewis Hamilton? Because a lot of people during the Baku GP were really happy whenever something bad happened to Lewis. And when I was questioning people on it on Twitter, and maybe this is just Twitter, but a lot of people said that the reason why they don't like Hamilton is because of how dominant he is, which I find to be quite a silly reason not to like a driver, because everyone praises Michael Schumacher, people like Alonso and stuff like that, and they were pretty dominant in their prime. So I'm not really sure why people don't like Lewis simply because he's as dominant. Yeah, you can argue he's in a good car, of course, and he gets quite lucky, but you do need a good car and you do need some elements of luck in order to become a champion, let alone a champion 7 times. So he does have the skill, because think about it this way, guys. The best teams are going to want the best drivers. So if the most dominant team in pretty much F1 history at this point, I believe, wants someone like Lewis Hamilton to be their main driver, I mean, that really says it all, doesn't it? So yeah, he definitely has the talent in my opinion. I'm not really sure why people dislike him. But yeah, other than that, insane race. The fact that you know, this was the first Grand Prix since 2013, I believe the statistic was, that we've not seen Max Verstappen, Valtteri Bottas, or Lewis Hamilton inside the points is just utterly insane to me. It just shows just how dominant Lewis and Max is, and obviously Valtteri as well, but whoa, we go super wide there. Obviously Valtteri as well, but in my opinion, Valtteri just isn't as good as those two necessarily. So yeah, definitely crazy statistic, as we have to fight Norris here to keep our position, because I completely bottled turn 1s and turn 2, so we're not going to have DRS, or actually no, we are going to have DRS luckily on Ocon. And yeah, speaking of Ocon, the Alpines they actually did better, or was it better or worse? I can't remember. I'll probably go back and look at the results and let you guys know probably during like post edit or something. I'm pretty sure they did better than what I predicted they were going to do. So I'm happy about that. Alonso was clearly the better driver out of the two. So, you know, as much as people say they don't like Alonso or whatever for whatever reason, you know, I'm happy that, you know, he has actually come back to the sport and he is actually doing all right, because one of the main criticisms that people had with him coming back into the sport is that, you know, he is quite a bit older now that he's had quite a long career. So, you know, the fact that he's taken up the spot when that could have been given to somebody who's new, has the talent to be in Formula One and stuff like that. Obviously, that was a main criticism for him coming back. But, you know, it is what it is. The main thing that team look at is, you know, the driver who actually is going to be driving for them, because obviously they need to bring some sort of, you know, type of sponsorships and stuff like that. And a name as big as Alonso is going to bring in some money for the team. So that's obviously one of the reasons why they will happily take him back, especially since the partnership they had when he was world champion with Renault back in 2006, I believe. But yeah, enough about the previous weekend. Let's actually get into this weekend now. And as I said, going into this, all I've seen is FP1 and FP2, which I actually think I'm going to box now and go for an undercut. So yeah, from what I've seen in FP1 and FP2, it's actually exactly what I expected, and it's actually exactly what I was expecting last time out as well at Baku, except it didn't really happen the way I thought it would at Baku. But yeah, the Mercedes and the Red Bull are clearly going to be the two dominant cars. I'm liking the fact that Perez is now starting to feel quite comfortable in the car, and he's now providing Red Bull with exactly what they need, which is a number two driver who can, you know, be up there with the Mercedes and with Max as well to provide that support for Max Verstappen. So yeah, I'm happy about that. The one thing that I was quite surprised about is Alpine. They seem to have a very quick car this weekend, and obviously it being their home Grand Prix, they're going to want to have the best home Grand Prix that they can. So it looks like they're going to have a pretty good weekend based on what I've seen in FP1 and FP2, which I'm very happy for, and I can't wait to see if they're going to be competitive later on today for qualifying and even tomorrow in the race, because obviously free practice doesn't tell you the whole story. So, you know, at the end of the day, you could do well in free practice, but then during qualifying in the race, you could be completely off pace, as we've seen multiple times. I'm pretty sure you guys already know the memes about how Valtteri Bottas will lead FP1, FP2, FP3, Q1, Q2, and then Lewis Hamilton will lead in Q3 and end up winning the race. So yeah, free practice doesn't necessarily tell you the whole story, but it will be nice to see Alpine actually, you know, bring back some of their old glory from, you know, the back in the day Renault days. You know, you obviously you want to see a team do well, and in order to see a team do well, another team has to do worse, obviously. But you always want to see a team do well and have close battles towards the front. So if they can have a good home Grand Prix, I'm all for it. Obviously they're probably not going to be competing against the Red Bulls and the Mercedes. I see them probably just taking it away as they always do. So in terms of the front battles, depending, again, as I said previously, with Baku, it really just depends on how good Perez is on Saturday and Sunday. Because really and truly, the Mercedes, as long as they are average, they're going to be very, very, very competitive. Whereas Max, you know, he can't do it by himself. He can't face two other drivers by himself. So as long as Perez is there, then we should hopefully see some form of interesting strategies from both teams moving on in the race. If not, then obviously the Mercedes are probably going to end up taking it. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with quali in that regards. In terms of the midfield battles, that's mainly what I'm sort of looking at here. As we overtake Ocon, I believe. Were we ahead of Ocon before the pit stop? I think we were. So if we were, the undercut hasn't really worked out all too great, because he's right there with us. I can't remember if he was behind us when we went into the pits or not. But anyways, yeah, the midfield battles are sort of the ones that I'm going to be looking at, because AlphaTauri, Alpine, and McLaren, if FP1 and FP2 are anything to go by, it's gonna be pretty close between those guys, and that's what I'm looking forward to, especially. I want to see how Yuki Tsunoda does, because he did quite well in the previous one, and this is his first France Grand Prix in 2 years. So the last time he raced at this track, he was in Formula 3, so he's never raced at this track with anything even remotely close to the speed of a Formula 1 car, and it obviously showed that he needed to really get to grips with the track quite quickly, as he had a spin out of that final corner in FP2, I believe. So yeah, I would like to see what he does. Gasly, he's going to want to have an even better home race than Alpine, obviously, and Gasly, he's been very solid this season. So I hope that Aston Martin continue on their good pace, but I'm not 100% sure that they will, because I don't know, for me, Aston Martin just hasn't really been what I initially thought they would be. I thought they would be quite competitive off the get-go, especially considering that, they're basically just taking over Racing Point's car from last year, which, I mean, though they had the few regulations that slowed down the car, didn't really think it was going to be that bad, but it is what it is. I think Ferrari, actually, as well. I haven't even mentioned Ferrari. I think they said that they are completely done with the F1 2021 car, and they're now only going to be focusing on the 2022 car, which, in my personal opinion, is the smartest move for most teams to actually do this year. Just focus on the 2022 cars, because they're going to play a much bigger role in teams' futures than this year's car, because the cars are fundamentally changing next year as well. So really and truly, the people who are going to benefit the most are the people who are going to be focusing the most on next year's car. So I think it's a smart move by Ferrari. As we go purple in first sector and have a slide out that corner. That corner could be really tricky. It can catch you out very easily if you're not careful. And I've just noticed we're actually in P4. So yeah, we've done a massive jump. That's a big dub there, as we are behind Daniel Ricciardo, who I'm not sure if he's pitted or not. I'm not sure if he started on the mediums. If not, then he's in a very good position. You would love to see something like this in real life, seeing him fighting for podiums even more than he did last season. So hopefully, as I said before, he starts to get to grip with the car, and he can do big things there. But yeah, as I was saying, the teams who are going to be, strong in this sort of like new regulation era are going to be the teams that have focused on it the most. And having some teams continue to focus on this year's car would really be pointless, in my opinion. So, you're going to want to see teams like Haas, like Williams, like Alfa Romeo really get stuck in with this new car and try to close the gap to the midfield. Potentially, they probably won't, but potentially close the gap to the front runners as well. But then again, all the other teams are also going to have the exact same mindset that that Ferrari have here. So I'm assuming that Mercedes have already been working on next year's car for quite some time already, and I'm assuming that the Red Bull and McLaren and stuff like that have already been doing that as well. So I'm not sure if they're going to be putting any time into continuing to upgrade this car as well. I haven't seen anything, so if you guys know more on that, then please let me know in the comment section as well. And speaking of comment sections, let me know what you guys think going into this weekend. I'm sure that by the time that you guys see this, you will have already seen qualifying. So maybe you can let me know your predictions on who you think is going to win the race tomorrow, who do you think is going to be on the podium, and who do you think is going to be in the sort of best of the rest positions. All right, here we go. It should be a relatively easy overtake. Or at least so I think, because he is. It does seem like as if he's using ERS. Yeah, the DRS is just too powerful. There we go. Make the move stick. Now we can work on catching up Verstappen and Bottas, which, we've only got 3 laps to do that. So I don't know if we will be able to, because Kevin Magnussen's actually retired from the race. Shouldn't really give a safety car or anything. Oh, and one thing as well, actually, that I wanted to to mention before that I didn't mention about FP1 and FP2. It really just shows that this track is a lot more difficult than it may seem to a casual or to someone who's new to the sport, because you look at the track and you're like, oh my god, there's so much runoff area, you can pretty much just do anything you want. And that's exactly the point. Like, because there's so little risk in damaging the car, or significantly damaging the car, I should say, with this track, people are pushing the car a lot harder, and that's going to cause for a lot more mistakes as well. So who knows, you might end up seeing an F1 2020 open lobby going into turn 1. I keep saying tomorrow, I mean Sunday, when the race starts. You might see a few crashes there, or hopefully not, obviously, because you never want to see crashes that could potentially hurt people. But yeah, I can definitely see a lot of people getting caught out very easily on Sunday, simply due to the fact that there are so little risks in terms of track runoff area, that people are just going to be consistently pushing the car to its max. Alright, so as we come up to lap 12 now, we've talked about the French Grand Prix and what I think going into it. We've talked about my thoughts about the Baku Grand Prix. Now let's actually move on to the game itself. Obviously, there's been some more stuff that's been released since the previous video about the new game. So I want you guys to leave a comment down below on what you're most excited to try out. We actually got our first warning there. What you guys are actually excited to try out once the new game drops in less than a month's time now. For me, I definitely think this breaking point thing is going to be very interesting. I will be doing a playthrough of that on my own channel. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of other people also doing breaking point as well. But I'm hoping that with some of the options that they said that you can choose from, that it does make the gameplay a lot, well, that's not necessarily a lot different, but different to the point where, it would be worth watching, different people's versions of breaking point. I'm also excited to do 2-player career mode. I have something in the works with another content creator who I think is a very, very good content creator in terms of career mode. Very, very passionate about what he does with career mode. So it would be nice to be able to actually start doing collabs, which is something I want to do more in the future. I'm not necessarily the best person to do collabs with. I would argue that I'm a lot better solo, but I want to get myself in a position where I can do some collabs with other content creators, because it will be fun. So let me know if there's any content creators that you would like me to try and potentially do a collab with once 2021 does drop, within reason, as we get another warning. Okay, so we went 12 laps without getting a warning, and then in the last 2 laps, we've already got 2. Jesus Christ. But yeah, obviously within reason, because, there's obviously certain content creators that I'm probably not going to be able to do collabs with. Like, for example, Theabout Marduk, or, like Tom97 and some of those guys who are a lot bigger than me. So, in terms of content creators, probably roughly people who are around about my size on YouTube, which is obviously something that I'm going to be pushing very hard going into F1 2021. I do want to hit 10,000 subscribers. It will be an amazing milestone for me to hit, especially since I've not really been doing this for very, very long. So thank you guys very, very much for the support that you've shown over the course of F1 2020. Honestly, I came into this game with, roughly like 180 subscribers. And now we're ending off this game with over 8,000 of you guys. So honestly, it's been one of the best years of my life. Just growing this channel, meeting some really cool people, and just improving in the game in general. But yeah, that's it. We're actually on the final lap, coming up to the end of the race. Valtteri Bottas does end up winning, and we managed to get within 2.5 seconds of Max Verstappen from last place. So definitely did a lot better than we did in the Baku race that we did a couple of weeks ago, as we get driver of the day, of course. All right, so that's the end of the race. We ended up coming in P3 from P20 with the fastest lap as well, so pretty good performance from us, way better than we did in the previous video, which I will leave a link at the top right hand side of the screen if you want to go back and watch that, or I will leave it in the description, so you can choose whichever one you want to click on. But yeah, in terms of this video, we're going to finish it off there. If you did enjoy it, make sure to smash the like button. As I said in the beginning of the video, it does help push the video out to other people like yourselves who may want to watch the video as well. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button as well. Over 70% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. So please hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. We are on the road to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, and hopefully we can hit that roughly in the next couple of months. That would be an awesome achievement for both myself and obviously you guys as well for helping support the channel. And I hope to see you guys in my next video.